You ever felt guilty for resting? Like your worth is tied to how much you can get done in a day? Do you find yourself ignoring your body's quiet whispering for stillness because deep down you've been taught that rest is lazy unless you earn it? If you nodded yes, my love, this episode is for you. Because I know what it's like to be the woman who shows up for everyone else, who fills every hour, meets every need, and quietly overrides her own in this process. In this episode of Soul Desire, I'm peeling back the layers of conditioning that tell us rest must be justified and offering you a new way forward. One that honors your nervous system, one that's rooted in your divine truth, one where rest isn't something you have to earn, it's something you remember. Let's talk about how to shift out of survival mode and into deep, sacred, unapologetic rest. You deserve it, my love.
This is your space, your sacred time. Soul desire ignites with every rhyme. Feel the balance, let your spirit soar. In this moment, find what you're looking for.
Hey, my loves, and welcome back to Soul Desire. My name is Rebecca, and I'm so grateful to have you here today. Today, I wanted to talk about something really deeply personal and vulnerable for me because I myself was stuck in this survival mode, in this feeling numb and feeling guilty of rest and guilty of taking care of myself for so many years. And it took me quite a bit to overcome this. And today I want to give you some tools to actually start making rest a habit, reprogram your mind so you feel good resting and taking this time for yourself. And why you right now maybe feel just guilty doing this. But before we head on into this conversation, I wanted to go back to something I talked about last week, which was my personal endeavor with dry brushing. So why do I get back to this conversation? If you have listened to the last episode, or if you even forgot, I just kickstart your memory real quick. Last week, I decided to start dry brushing. And it wasn't because I felt like it's a nice self-care ritual, which it definitely is, but I decided to do so because I wanted to start activating my lymph nodes, because in the lymph nodes, there is trauma, negative experiences, and everything stored. And when you start massaging it, you start to do a drainage. And this activates your nodes to release trauma, to release everything which is stored in there. And it will help you activate your system again. So now I'm doing this for a week. I said last time it's going to be a little challenge. I'm trying to do this for 2 weeks straight. And I definitely encourage you to do this. And here's my little in between. This is like a little check-in. And hopefully I'm going to spark your interest and you're doing this too because it's amazing. I actually experience really soft and beautiful skin. This is just a side note. So if you feel like you have pimples or uneven skin or an even uneven skin tone, I definitely would suggest doing this. Dry brushing is really good. So the second benefit I felt was I really connected to myself. I really took the time for myself and just spent some deep moments with myself, which is the divine feminine essence, which is this, what every divine feminine should do. Take care of yourself, nurture yourself, and give yourself what you really deserve and need. And this is some time for me. I connect to my soul. I connect to myself. I really embrace this moment. So it's a really beautiful side effect to deepen your divine feminine energy. And here's what actually happened. After the third day, I believe it was the third day. After the third day doing this, I had the worst day ever. I was thinking really negatively. I was spiraling again. I was thinking to hustle again, and I wanted to shift back into my comfort zone, the hustle mode, the survival, because it felt so familiar. It felt safe at that moment. And this is what we all basically have to do when you're long periods of your time or your life in your survival mode. I like to call myself a recovered addict. It's not a nice term, but it's really true. When you're used to something, it became so second nature, it became so familiar that choosing your natural state feels safe, feels good, but it's not familiar. So it's a constant upkeeping to shift back into my divine feminine energy. It's a daily habit. It's a daily reminder. And it's the little steps that keep me in this energy. And as soon as something feels uncomfortable on bad days, I feel myself shifting into survival mode again because it feels so comfortable, so familiar. But what I always say is just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's healthy. It's if you have a toxic family, a toxic friend, just because it feels familiar to be with them doesn't mean that it's healthy. We all have this friend we know from childhood and we really, really like when we were younger, but now we're not the same person anymore. We shifted, we are evolved, and we grew into with our healing journey. And this person is maybe not the person we remember. Maybe they're toxic even right now. So just because it feels familiar and every time we meet them, it feels like childhood again and we want to spend time with them, but it's not healthy. And it's this conscious choice to pick yourself over the familiarity. So going back to my story, I had the worst day. I can tell you why I had the worst day because I felt stuck. I felt like nothing moved. It felt like my life crumbled and I got back into this victim mode, into the feeling of, why am I doing this? It's never happening. It will never happen for me because I'm not special enough. I'm not enough. I'm not deserving. You know the inner talk. You know what I'm talking about. So this moment, I just sat in the pain because this is part of healing, acknowledging how you feel and just let it happen. And a while later, I recognized that this was actually a beautiful sign. It was because I did the lymph drainage. It was because I did the dry brushing. My body started to activate these feels again. I started to drain the emotions, the trauma. And this is what happens when you really dive deep in your healing. You go through bad patches, bad periods, bad seasons, even. But it's because your body needs to release it. And this was what happened. So this is my little side note because I don't want you to run into this, start your dry brushing journey, encounter these moments and just skip it and stop it. Because the beautiful thing is when I started this and I went through this really annoying 2-day patch, which was just draining me and I felt overwhelmed. After that, I felt lighter. I felt better in my own skin. And I feel like it shifted. Something within me shifted. So I encourage you to keep going. Give it a try. Start it and push through. So here's my challenge. I'm doing it for one more week and probably longer, but for the next week, go join me. Do this, try it out and see the shift happening within you, because when it happened in me, it will most definitely will happen within you. This is my little encouragement for today, and I'm looking forward to hear from you. So go dim me or go tell me. You can write the review. I read every single one, and I just want to hear how your experiences are. And if you actually gave it a try, I'm really excited. So now let's go and dive into our today's topic, because today I'd like to talk about how to start effectively guilt-free resting. When I was in survival mode, resting felt like laziness. It felt like I fell behind. It felt like I just froze my life and I couldn't do this. It felt just plain wrong. And I felt like I'm not deserving of rest because I haven't done anything yet. I wasn't productive yet. So there's no need to rest and there's no reason to do this. And then there was my little disclosure note in there that I decided it was safe to rest when everybody else was resting. So I kept waiting for family, friends, spouses, or whoever was around me to take a break. So it was okay for me to take a short break. But I didn't want to take it too often or too long, because otherwise I look lazy, and I didn't want to do this either. I felt lazy. So if you ever been in this situation, if you've been in this moment of numbness, when you're in your survival mode and you just feel numb and you just push through and you hustle and you keep going and your body is telling you, I'm so tired, I'm so drained, and you keep pushing through and you keep pushing yourself over the limits, and you recognize how you feel so burned out. And it's usually the moments when your body starts to shut down. Don't let it happen till this point. I've been there. And the last couple of years, I had 3 major burnouts, and they weren't fun, but they were a sign, a help sign. My soul sent me that she couldn't do it any longer, that I needed to stop, that I needed to rest, and that I should stop pushing through. So if any of this sound familiar with you, if anything of this resonated, I know you guys. I know some of you are moms, busy doing everything, scheduling everything, trying to fit the husband's schedule and the kid's schedule and your own all in one day, and pushing through and never stopping, and just taking a short breath when you're in the car, dropping off the kids at school, and that's it for the day. I see you. I see all the women who are working and pushing through and trying to make it happen, trying to be successful in their businesses, starting just off and seeing this amount of work and pushing through and thinking, hustle, 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 because if you take a break, you're lazy, you're missing out. I've been there and I see you. But here's what I've learned. The sacred pause, the rest, is actually an acceleration. Yes, it sounds so counterproductive. It sounds so counterintuitive, but it's true. When you rest, you actually recharge, which is obvious. And yes, it does make a difference, but you also update your DNA. You fill your own cup. And here's the most important thing. When you're in your survival mode and you take a moment to rest, what happens is your nervous system starts calming down. You shift in your divine natural energy, in your divine feminine energy, and the downloads will happen. On the sudden, Your intuition will kick in, your creativity is coming to life, and you get the most amazing ideas and solutions. It's really true. When I was in my survival mode, I was pushing, pushing, pushing to the point that I was really feeling overwhelmed. And I remember this exact day because it was so bad. I was really depressed and I thought about to end life because I felt so overwhelmed. And this is not a pretty thing to say. And I know this is probably something which will push a lot of you guys. But my love, this is what you need to hear. If you're at this point, it's time to rest. So I remember my body just shut down and I had to lay down because I felt so dizzy. I felt sick like a dog. I couldn't do anything. So I was laying down in the sun because I figured I could stay inside, but I'm a sun goddess. I love sun. So it drew me there. And just for a couple of minutes, I just embraced the moment. I felt the sun on my skin, the wind go through my hair. I just felt the universal love. I felt the energy of Gaia. It's like almost hugging me. Gaia is the divine feminine energy. So every time you feel disconnected, you can connect to her and you will feel instantly more alive and the earthly love. And then there I was for quite a while. And I haven't actually recognized that so much time was passing. It was probably 30 minutes at that time. When I stood up back again, going back to my work, I felt recharged. I felt like I found life again. I felt like, okay, I got this hurdle and now I have a little bit more energy, a little bit more push to keep going. But also, all this creativity bubbled up in me. And this was probably the push that kept me going because all of a sudden I had the solutions to my problems. I saw the path. And this is what you might experience right now because through all this hustle, your intuition gets really foggy. Your mind is really foggy. You can't think clearly. You don't see your path anymore and you don't see the next steps because it's so foggy. What I do is I just sit down now when I feel fog again. And this happens because just because you shifted into your divine feminine energy and you stay long periods of time in there doesn't mean you will never shift back into your survival mode. And that's totally okay because I keep saying the survival mode is your soul's biggest love message. She's telling you that she feels like you're overwhelmed and she wants to give you a way to protect you, to be safe. So she shifts you in your survival mode. So you're safe. You keep pushing through. But this is supposed to be just for a short period of time. Just acknowledge that it's okay to shift in your survival mode again, but you get really good at it. So you see the signs early on. You recognize when you're in your survival mode and you can decide and actively choose to shift back into your divine feminine energy. And that's the beautiful part. So now when I feel I shift back into my survival mode or I'm on the verge to shifting back to the survival mode. When I feel this cloud, this fog in my brain, I just connect to Gaia. I sit still and I take a couple of minutes and rest. It sounds so simple and it's so effective. I promise you, my love. Just take a moment, sit down and just rest. Give yourself this time and you will recognize the fog will go slowly lifts away and you will see the next couple of steps. And that's all you need. You don't need to see the entire path. You just need to see the next couple of steps and trust. This is our logical brain, our survival mode, who tells us we need to see the entire path because otherwise we can't go anywhere. We freeze. We stay in our place and we are not going a single step because we need to see everything. But you don't need to see everything because you're rooted in your divine feminine energy. You know that you are going to be safe, that you are going to be guided, and that your intuition will guide you to the best outcome there is. So just trust. Just sit down, rest, let the fog lift, see the next couple of steps, and keep moving. I'm well aware when you're in your survival mode, it's so hard to rest. I know this out of personal experience that it was so hard to get to this point to actually start and sit down and to actually start resting. So here's my tip, because I want you to get in the habit to normalize that rest is good. This is actually your brain telling you the nervous system is in hypervigilant. It's overwhelmed and it's on fire and it's telling you we can't rest. There's all this doubt and it feels unsafe to rest. You need to reprogram your belief system, your nervous system to make it feel safe to rest. So this is what I did in the beginning. I picked a time of the day. For me, it was after lunch because I'm naturally tired after lunch. So I took 5 minutes. I set a timer to 5 minutes. And instead of getting a strong cup of tea or a cup of coffee, just take 5 minutes, put them on your timer, lay down, sit down, and rest. Just rest. And try to let your thoughts just pass away like clouds. Don't feel mad at yourself because you're thinking about something or you're in your mind. Just acknowledge it and let it go. It's really hard in the beginning, I know, my love, but you get there. Practice makes perfect. So what I did was every time I felt like a thought kept stuck in my brain, I thanked it. So I said, thank you. But right now, just move. You're safe to leave. You can come back later. It's not that it's really that I'm talking to the thoughts, but I'm talking to my nervous system. I'm telling my nervous system it's okay to quiet down the thoughts. It's okay to stop thinking for a moment. And I know there are some women like me, we are thinking constantly. Our thoughts are all the time going. So if you feel like you can start resting, just turn on a guided meditation and let it guide you. There are beautiful ones out there, and you even find 5-minute meditations. So just take this time to calm down and try to really relax. It will get better over time. What I really love to do is I place my left hand on my heart and my right hand on my womb. I tell my nervous system, it's safe to rest. It's safe to surrender. And it's safe to just be right now and really feel it. Because the more you do this, you reprogram your nervous system. Your beliefs are getting reconnected and you replace old negative beliefs, which tell you rest is bad and you're not safe to rest, with the thought that rest is sacred and then it's an exhilaration. So if you build this bridge, your mind starts to learn over time that rest is good. And you will recognize you won't need to set a timer anymore because you just naturally know. You know and feel when you need rest. You get to those points where you, for example, yesterday I felt really, really tired. I had a lot to do, but I decided to just lay down for an hour and a half and relax, do nothing, just be. And guess what? The most pivoting thoughts came. The best creative sparks appeared, and you start alchemizing yourself by resting. This is my little tip for you. You can do this a couple of times a day. If you feel 5 minutes are really stretching it for you, give yourself 2 minutes a couple of times a day. So schedule 2 minutes after you woke up and maybe after lunch and maybe before you go to bed, because those moments give you the permission to really rest, because all you need is really a permission from yourself. It's okay to rest. That you don't need to wait for anybody else to say, it's okay to rest now. That you don't need to wait that anybody else is resting. And that you are still worthy, even though you may not be as productive as you wished you would be. This is my little tip for today. And I wanted to give you a sweet little extra tip for the night. It's also to calm your nervous system, but it's connected to the divine feminine energy, because this is basically what I developed. And if you follow me for a while, if you follow me on social media or subscribe to my free newsletter, Soul Message, you know I've been in this survival mode for so long and I recognized what my soul needed. So I found my own little way to calm my nervous system, but at the same time, build my depth, my connection to my divine feminine energy. Because at the end of the day, I'm still productive. I'm still Virgo. I'm still overthinking. So for me, I try to make it a win-win situation, because only removing the survival mode doesn't really leave you deepening your divine feminine energy. I feel like you need both, because otherwise you feel stuck in between. And I think if you can already move a step further to your divine natural energy, why not? So here's my last tip. What I love doing is in the evening, just make yourself a beautiful cup of tea. You can do any kind of tea. I wouldn't suggest black teas or green teas because they're waking you up. So it's something you should probably do in the morning. But any herbal tea is perfect. You can take rose tea. The divine feminine loves rose tea. And your nervous system loves the herbal tea. You can do even a blend, whatever suits you, whatever fills your cup, and whatever feels good for you. Otherwise, which I really love doing too, you can do a hot cacao. So take dark chocolate, melt it, and put some cinnamon in there. And you can sweeten it a little if you like, and use this. And then take a blanket and get really cozy, because this actually serves two things. The tea is warm, which your nervous system loves. It's instantly putting your nervous system at calm, and it signals that you are safe. The blanket is similar. I believe it's your soul recognizes this moment because it feels like when you were in the room, it's this comfortable, safe space. So I feel like trigger your mind as much as you can to recognize what is safe. What you do next is don't turn on the TV. Don't listen to a podcast. Don't do any of this. You can turn on some soothing music and maybe some binaural sounds, whatever feels good for you in this moment. Really listen to yourself and fuel yourself. And then slowly sip your tea or cacao. What this does is the warmth is filling you and you feel comfortable and safe in this moment and relaxed. What you can do is imagine this warm liquid as a gold liquid fueling your body. And maybe say this prayer. You can say, I decree and declare that everything within my body that doesn't serve me anymore, all the trauma, the anxiety, the doubt, it will just strip away. This will help you to really calm your nervous system, to release everything you don't need anymore. And hopefully by the end of your cup, you feel more relaxed and you're ready for bed. I hope this episode helped you. I hope these steps helped you. If you like this episode, please give me a review. I would love to hear what you think. I would love to hear your progress. And if you don't want to make it openly, it's okay. You can send me a message privately on Instagram or via email. I love to hear your progress and maybe even what you wish to hear next time. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to go even deeper, you can sign up for my free newsletter, Soul Message. It's on my website and in the show notes down below. And next week, we get back with another beautiful episode on Monday. So I can't wait to see you again. Take care, my loves. As always, I'm so happy and grateful for each and every one of you. Keep shining. Keep remembering who you are. And keep alchemizing what doesn't serve you anymore.